Welcome back to the FF Faceoff. I'm your host, Anthony Cervino. Follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. Follow the show at the FF Faceoff. We can be found at all the top social media and podcast platforms. A few days ago, we took a look at a one quarterback rookie mock draft. So naturally, today we're going to take a look at a Superflex rookie mock draft to help you win your Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues. Let's get right into it. And there's going to be some situations that are going to come up, and I'm going to say, well, if I'm a win-now team, I might do this. If I'm a rebuilding team, I might do that. So real actionable information. I'm going to try to give you as much as I can to help you win your fantasy football drafts because, listen, it's Dynasty Fantasy Football season. It is rookie draft season. It is Dynasty Startup season. So let's get right into it. Let's see if we can help you win some of those fantasy football titles in 2023 and beyond. So with the 101 in these rookie mock drafts, it is Bijan Robinson or bust, regardless of format, regardless of what type of team you have. Now, if you're in a really desperate situation, sure, I get it. You might have to go quarterback. But those situations are few and far between because Bijan Robinson is the best skill position player in this draft class. He might be the most gifted, the best overall football player in the 2023 NFL draft class. And it's not like he landed with, I don't know, like, let's say, I'm just going to throw a name. It's not like he landed with the 49ers who use a bunch of running backs. He landed on a Falcons team whose head coach is Arthur Smith. Now, I get it. He used Algier. He used Patterson last year. But the last time he had a running back with a similar skill set, an elite skill set, like the one Bijan Robinson has, the dude was the best running back in the NFL under Arthur Smith. And we know we're talking about Derrick Henry. In fact, Arthur Smith was the football coordinator who unlocked and unleashed Derrick Henry. Bijan, he's rare. He's talented. He's elite. He can do it all. He can line up as a receiver all over the formation. There were even rumors that, hey, maybe they put him in the slot so he takes fewer hits. Speed, power, pass-catching upside, in the right offense. They ran the ball more than any other team in the NFL last season. Normally, that belongs to the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, but that wasn't the case. Arthur Smith, hell, he even ran the damn ball. When the Atlanta Falcons were behind, he still committed to the run. And when you can get Tyler Algier, a fifth-round pick, over 1,000 rushing yards, sharing a backfield a lot of the time with Cordell Patterson, your scheme is right. And when you put an elite player like Bijan Robinson into that scheme, magic will happen. There's no question about it. And let's say Desmond Ridder figures it out. Maybe they go trade for Ryan Tannehill. If the quarterback position gets figured out, and you take a look at Atlanta's skill position players with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, they can't just stack the line and try to stop Bijan. They're going to have to honor the pass. Now, Bijan's going to get it done regardless, but if they can figure out the passing game and get a competent upside quarterback under center, and hell, it could be Ridder, then it's going to be really, really special right out the gate for Bijan Robinson. Number 2 in the Superflex draft. Depending on who you are, depending on what analysts you listen to, maybe they play it safe. Go CJ Stroud. Maybe, he has not the highest ceiling in the world, but really high floor. Going to be a really solid NFL quarterback. Or Bryce Young has a higher ceiling than CJ Stroud. I think he has a lower floor and a higher injury risk because of his compact size. Then you got Anthony Richardson, who have the highest ceiling out of all of the quarterbacks in this draft class. Of course, he's raw. So pick your poison here. We also can go Jahmyr Gibbs and say, punt the quarterback, because I'm not in love with any of these guys. They all have some ceiling, they all have some floor, and Jahmyr Gibbs is in a great situation, kind of like Bijan Robinson. But Superflex, most of these drafts are going to have a quarterback taken off the board. And if I am in this position 9 times out of 10, I am taking Anthony Richardson. Listen, I get he is raw. I get that he's a work in progress. I get that some offensive coordinators or executives around the league pretty much said his short accuracy when he's throwing the football is garbage. That can be worked on. That can be tweaked. There's a reason why Anthony Richardson compared himself to Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton, and I'm buying into the hype. Now, I don't love the landing spot on the Indianapolis Colts. I just don't think they have enough. I never got it through the years since Andrew Luck and Phillip Rivers. And Michael Pittman's nice. We have yet to see this guy pop. And I don't know if he's the guy fantasy Twitter thinks he is. The tight end room's kind of a joke. Jonathan Taylor's great. But, they really have Pittman and Taylor. Alec Pierce, maybe. A lot of question marks. What I love about the situation in Indy is the head coach who comes from Philadelphia, who helped groom and unlock Jalen Hurts. And I think Steichen is going to do a hell of a job with Anthony Richardson. This is a team that's going to run the hell out of the football, kind of like the Falcons. And if they can get Jonathan Taylor healthy and get him going on the ground, and if the offensive line can stay healthy and get back to their form from a few years ago, then I think Anthony Richardson's going to have a really nice season out the gate. Is this a better long-term pick? Absolutely. Anthony Richardson is a better long-term pick beyond this season. But again, I think he has the highest ceiling and the most upside of all the quarterbacks in this draft class. And the Colts are going to be bad. They're going to be picking probably in the top 5 or 10 again next year. And who knows, maybe they get the best wide receiver off the board. And all of a sudden, Anthony Richardson going into 2024 has the best wide receiver prospect coming out. Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, he's going in his year 2 and everything just gels together. And he's a phenomenal NFL quarterback. I'm going and taking the shot on AR. Let's go to pick number 3. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs, and this is a little bit controversial because it is super flex, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't love these quarterbacks, and the only reason why I go Richardson at number 2 is because I believe in the talent. I believe he can be groomed. He also has the highest rushing floor of the other 3 quarterbacks. CJ Stroud, like I said, I don't love the upside. I don't love the overall ceiling. Bryce Young could be special, but I worry about longevity. He's also on the Houston Texans, and that team has been a mess. I love the offseason they had. They're going in the right direction, but I don't I'm talking about the Panthers. You can actually throw the Carolina Panthers in the same conversation, in the same context I just said about the Texans. And we could throw CJ Stroud into this pool with Bryce Young. I respect the offseason. Both the Texans and Panthers had pretty nice offseasons for those type of teams. But I think it's going to be a disaster in year 1 for both of these quarterbacks. Like even look at the receiving room for both of these teams. Robert Woods on one side, Adam Thielen on the other. I get it. They're veteran additions, veteran names. They're more to help the young offense gel off the field and add some locker room leadership than anything else. And there's a whole hell of a lot of question marks. Like one team brought in Schultz, the other team brought in Hayden Hurst. Those guys are going to be awfully busy with these rookie quarterbacks. I just don't love the situation. Short term and long term, you never know, because both of these organizations have been defunct for quite a few years now. So I go Gibbs. And the reason why I go Gibbs in this spot, like everything I said about Anthony Richardson, I get that Anthony Richardson is a superior runner to Gibbs. That's a given. However, Gibbs is a superior pass catcher. He has elite speed. You can put him anywhere on this damn offense, and he can beat you. What I also love about the situation with Gibbs, they draft Gibbs really high, and they drafted him that high because they believe in his talent, and they believe he's going to help that football team. The argument is, well, look how they use Swift. I believe the Lions didn't fully buy into Swift because they didn't trust his durability. They didn't trust that he stays on the football field. And they brought in Dave Montgomery. He's going to fill in the role of Jamal Williams as that in-between the tackle, short yardage guy. But they also love to throw the running back position, the football, which is where Gibbs is going to bring you a lot of fantasy points in PPR leagues. He's that big play guy. He's that home run hitter who's going to hit the home run anytime he touches a football and cash in high ceilings. Love him in best ball. Love him in dynasty leagues behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And what do we know about Jared Goff? Jared Goff plays his best football when he has an elite pass-catching running back. Go back to his days with a healthy Todd Gurley with the Rams and look at how good Jared Goff played football and played the quarterback position. He might have that guy now in Detroit, which means this offense is going to be outstanding once again under Ben Johnson. And Jahmyr Gibbs for the next few years is going to be a really, really solid fantasy asset with big time ceiling. I'm all in on Gibbs regardless of the format. I'm willing to take Gibbs as the third player off the board in Superflex. I might be in the minority, but I'm all in here. Let's go to my number 4, and this is where we go back to the quarterback position. And the number 4 pick that I'm going to make in this mock, I'm going to go Bryce Young. And Bryce Young, I already said it, all the ceiling in the world, all the intangibles in the world. I get why the Carolina Panthers wanted to take him and mortgage their future to get him. Is there a long-term injury risk because of his compact size? Yes, there absolutely is. Now, I like the head coach. I think Reich is going to do a hell of a job getting Bryce Young ready to play. Is there a guarantee he starts the season? I would say it's about 90%, but hell, this team brought in Andy Dalton. They could play the game. We're going to play Andy Dalton for a game or two, and then let's pivot to Bryce Young. I think they should throw Bryce Young into the fire right away, get him acclimated to the NFL speed, and Frank Reich is a good enough head coach and quarterback guy to get Bryce Young ready to play in the NFL in week 1. They brought in Thielen. He's going to be a nice confidence booster because he's not going to make mistakes. He's going to run the right routes. He's going to be where he has to be, and he's going to come down with the contested ball. He could still be an end zone weapon for Bryce Young. They brought in Chark, nice deep play option. They brought in the rookie Mingo, a little bit of a questionable draft pick, but hopefully he can gel with Bryce Young. And of course, Hayden Hurst, a safety blanket tight end underneath. They should have a solid running game under Miles Sanders, but there's a lot of question marks with Bryce Young, which is why he falls to pick number 4 in my mock. Let's go to pick number 5, and this is where we go CJ Stroud. Like I said, I don't love the ceiling, but I do love the floor. Whoever takes CJ Stroud on their Superflex team, they're going to get a quality starter. Now, is CJ Stroud going to be a QB1? Like, if you're in a one-quarterback league, is CJ Stroud going to be a weekly quarterback to start? I can't promise you that. But in Superflex formats, can he be that 13 to 16 guy that you can play on a weekly basis? He's not going to lose the game for you. He may not win it for you either, but he's going to produce solid fantasy points. Like, he'll be a top 15, 16 guy in fantasy points per game. He'll be a nice solid piece to your Superflex team, and you're going to go win championships because he's not going to lose for you. That's CJ Stroud. Houston, they're a mess. They've been a mess. But just like I said about Adam Thielen, I'm going to say the same thing about Robert Woods. He's going to go where he wants. He's going to go where he needs to be with the route running. He's going to catch those tough balls, and he's not going to drop the ball and kind of I don't know, mess with CJ Stroud's confidence because, they try to get him going early, get him into a rhythm early. All of a sudden, receivers drop the ball and poof, their confidence is gone. Robert Woods going to keep the confidence levels up of CJ Stroud on the practice field and on the game field. They got Mechie coming back. They drafted a couple of nice wide receivers, but overall, of course, they have Nico Collins, but overall, this wide receiver room is not that good. I probably like Carolina's receiving room a little bit more, and that's not saying much. They have a nice backfield in Houston, and I like the tight end addition in Dalton Schultz from my Dallas Cowboys. There is a strong case to be made that Dalton Schultz leads the Houston Texans in targets, and I'm all about it. But CJ Stroud, again, I just don't love the situation. I wish they brought a better big-time wide receiver in to help this guy out early. But again, CJ Stroud, you're going to take him. He's going to be a solid player on your Superflex team. But in one quarterback, he's not the type of guy, in my opinion, that you're going to be able to start on a weekly basis, which is why he's best for Superflex formats, and which is why he is picked number 5 in this Superflex draft. And he should be picked right around pick 4 to 5 or 6 in most Superflex rookie drafts. Let's go to my next player off the board, and this is where needs play a role. If you're a win-now team, you might want to go Jordan Addison here. If you're a rebuilding team and you want to look towards the future, then you want to side with the overall talent and future upside in Jaxon Smith-Njigba. So let's pretend that we're a Superflex team. We're a rebuilding Superflex team, which means we are going with Jaxon Smith-Njigba. And the reason why I like him better for a rebuilding team is because look at the situation in Seattle. Tyler Lockett's getting older. DK Metcalf, he's going to keep needing to get paid. We don't know the situation with Geno Smith. Can he replicate what he did last year, or do they move on to a new quarterback in 2024? What else could happen in 2024? Well, Jaxon Smith-Njigba in 2024 could be a starting wide receiver on the Seahawks in 2 wide sets. They could elect to move off of DK, but the more likely scenario is that they elect to move off an aging Tyler Lockett, or they move Tyler Lockett to more of a complementary number 3 role and let JSN and DK Metcalf start in 2 wide sets. Overall, JSN is going to be, he should be busy this season. Let's look at the depth chart in Seattle. You have Jaxon Smith-Njigba, you have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett, and you don't have much else behind those guys. So anytime they're running more than 2 wide receiver sets, JSN, barring injury, is going to be on the football field. But like I said, in 2024, that's when I expect to see Jaxon Smith-Njigba begin to break out and return fantasy prominence to your dynasty team. Pick number 7 is where I go Jordan Addison. And I love Jordan Addison. If I'm a win now team, I'm taking him over JSN. If I'm in this situation and I'm picking number 7 in a super flex draft and Jordan Addison falls to me, I'm doing cartwheels all over the place. Look at the situation he's in. He's going to be lining up on the same football field as Justin Jefferson, arguably the number 1 or 2 wide receiver in the NFL. When is Jordan Addison going to see double coverage? When is he going to see the top tier corner? It's not going to happen a lot. And Jordan Addison goes to a lot of teams. He might be the number 1 wide receiver. We don't know, but what we do know is that he's on a Kevin O'Connell offense that wants to throw the football. He's the number 2 to Justin Jefferson. He's going to see the light coverage, and his quarterback, it's not like his quarterback CJ Stroud. Not like his quarterback's Daniel Jones. Quarterback's Kirk Cousins, who's a very solid quarterback. When Kirk Cousins is on, he's an excellent quarterback, especially when it comes to fantasy football. And we also know that the Minnesota Vikings are a bad football team on defense, which means the Vikings are going to have to throw the hell out of the football to stay in football games. They're going to have to outscore you to win football games. I love Jordan Addison. He's one of the biggest values in rookie drafts. If he falls, especially in Superflex, if he falls to you at pick 7, that's a tremendous value. He's going to help you now, and he's going to help you down the road. Slam dunk pick, one of my favorite picks in fantasy football rookie drafts this season. Next, we go wide receiver. Do we go Kincaid? Do we go Will Levis? And what kind of team do you have? What are your needs? The safe pick is probably Quentin Johnston. And the reason why it's the safe pick, he's with the Chargers. And like Seattle, like I just said about JSN in Seattle, the future for Quentin Johnston is bright. Keenan Allen is getting older. Injuries began to catch up to him last year. Mike Williams, really good wide receiver, struggles to stay on the field. Josh Palmer, I loved the guy last year, but when he got extended playing time, he showed us he's nothing more than a number 3 at best, which means Johnston is next in line to be the starter in 2 wide sets whenever the hell the Chargers move off of Keenan Allen. We heard rumors that it could have happened this offseason. So maybe in 2024, we could be looking at a wide receiver room with Quentin Johnston and Mike Williams and Palmer as your starters in 3 wide sets. And by the way, the quarterback is Justin Herbert of JSN, Jordan Addison, and Johnston. The best quarterback throwing to either one of these guys is Justin Herbert to Quentin Johnston. They brought on my old OC from Dallas, Kellen Moore, which could really open up an already talented signal caller. I love the situation for Quentin Johnston. I don't know if it translates this year, but like JSN, the ceiling is sky high in 2024 and beyond. Let's go to pick number 9. Is this where we go Levis? Is this where we go Zay Flowers, who I kind of really like? Again, Superflex. We could go either direction, but like when you look at Levis, you look at the situation, I think we got to go Will Levis. And I wasn't saying this until a few days ago. And what happened a few days ago? Well, a few days ago, I saw a report out of Tennessee saying that if this team gets off to a slow start and they're losing games with Tannehill, they're going to go to Will Levis. There is no developmental here. It's going to be Tannehill if they lose games early. And let's face it, this team's going to be bad. The Tennessee Titans could be a 2-win football team going into like week 7, and Will Levis is going to be in a football game. So if you're drafting Levis in a Superflex league, I don't know if I expect him in September, but I would certainly look for him to starting football games in October. And I don't want to hear anybody say, what about Malik Willis? What about Malik Willis? That offense went backwards with that schmuck on the football field. This is Will Levis's football team. It's only a matter of time. Whether it's in September, whether it's in October, whether it's in 2024, they're moving off of Tannehill. They would probably rather move off of Tannehill now if they could find a suitor. We've seen the trade reports all offseason, but this is going to be Will Levis's football team. I'll keep saying it, and I think it happens at latest by mid-October. I don't love his weapons. In fact, I hate his weapons. Outside of Derrick Henry and Treylon Burks, they don't have a lot. But Will Levis is talented. They have Chig. There's enough for Will Levis to be productive if you have to play him. But the hope is that you don't have to play him. Like, if you're a Superflex team and you're solid with your QB1 and your Superflex guy, and you can get Levis as your 3, and hopefully the Titans do the right thing and go bring in some wide receivers next offseason, then Will Levis can be your Superflex quarterback. I don't love him if you have to start him a lot this year. I love him for a team more if you have a solid 2 quarterbacks already and he's a number 3 guy in your quarterback room, because this is a pick that really could pay dividends in the future as long as the Titans do their damn job and go get him some more wide receivers. Pick number 10 as we round this thing down. This is where we go Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers a lot. Baltimore, they finally locked up Lamar Jackson. So you know Lamar's going to be Zay Flowers' quarterback for a long time. I love the new OC, Todd Monken. It's not getting talked about enough. They moved off of Greg Roman. They bring in Monken, and Monken is an air raid passing offensive coordinator. Yes, they're still going to run the football with Lamar Jackson and play to his strengths, but they're also going to throw it a hell of a lot more than they ever had before in Baltimore. Look at the wide receiver room. You got OBJ. He's really probably only going to be there for a year. They have Duvernay. To me, he's kind of just a guy. They have Bateman. He's kind of just a guy, in my opinion. They brought in Aguilar. And they have Mark Andrews and Likely. Zay Flowers, if he is as advertised, he could be the starter in 3 wide sets this year and a starter in 2 wide sets next year and beyond. I love the talent. I love the fact that they got everything figured out in Baltimore when it comes to the quarterback situation. I think he's a slam dunk pick if you can get him at pick number 10 in your Superflex drafts, because there is a path for him to start with the top, I would say top 8 quarterback or better with Lamar Jackson, maybe top 5, arguably at this point. And again, the situation is good. You have it's no longer the Greg Roman offense. They don't really like to pass. No, this is Todd Monken air raid offense. They're going to throw the hell out of the football, which means a lot of opportunity for Zay Flowers. Pick number 11. Now we go Dalton Kincaid. And again, there's so much value in Superflex drafts if you don't need a quarterback. Because a guy like Kincaid, who's going a lot higher in single quarterback drafts, you're getting him at pick 10. His landing spot's sensational. I wanted him in Dallas, but Buffalo leapfrogged my Cowboys and took him, which was a really smart move by Brandon Beane. You got Stephon Diggs. You have Gabriel Davis, who didn't pan out as much as I thought he would, or others. They moved off McKenzie because he didn't play very well. Like, this wide receiver room outside of Davis and Diggs isn't very good. Knox is solid, but what is he really? He's like a red zone guy. Where Dalton Kincaid, they comp him out to Travis Kelce when it comes to his pass catching upside. The way you can line him up everywhere, and he's a mismatch nightmare. And he has a really, really good quarterback in Josh Allen, who's going to throw him the football early and often because Diggs is going to draw the coverage. And in the middle of the field, it's going to be Dalton Kincaid eating up those targets. And what have we heard from Buffalo all season long? They want Josh Allen to throw the ball faster. They want to get it out of his hands faster. They don't want him absorbing so many hits. So who's the key beneficiary when you want your quarterback to get rid of the football? It's usually the tight end. And Dalton Kincaid has the skill set after the catch to go make those big plays. We also know he's going to make big plays in the red zone. So there's a lot of points to cash in on with Dalton Kincaid on the Buffalo Bills. Finally, pick number 12 to round out this mock draft. People might kill me for this. I'm going Devon Achane over my guy Charbonnet, and I was a big Charbonnet guy. I don't love the landing spot. I like Kendre Miller, but if you need an immediate impact player, Devon Achane with the Miami Dolphins, he's a slam dunk. Elite speed, elite pass catching ability, and he's on an offense with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We also know that Mike McDaniel's the type of offensive guy who's going to scheme his best players open. What happens when Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they take the DBs all the way up the field, and there's a little dump off to Achane, who has the elite speed and playmaking ability to make plays in the open field and take one to the house? That's what we're going to see. And I get what people say. Well, that offense, they don't like throwing to the running backs. They don't like throwing to the running backs because they don't have the running backs with the skill set to make big plays like that. Like Mostert and Jeff Wilson, excellent in between the tackles. Not as good when it comes to pass catching. Look what the 49ers did all those years before they had a pass-catching running back like CMC. They had to go to Debo and convert him to a hybrid player. They use him as a running back and as a receiver to start using him in the backfield more and exploiting the defense that way. Then they traded for CMC. All of a sudden, they throw to running backs now. It's magic. And I feel the same way about the Miami Dolphins and Achane. Just like magic, they're going to throw the football to the running back position, which means Achane's going to cash in. There's not a lot of weapons on this offense. They're very top-heavy. You have Tyreek, you have Waddle. There's no more Gesicki. You got Mostert, you got Wilson. There's not a lot. You can make a case that if Devon Achane translates to an NFL back early, he's the third best playmaking option on this offense, and he hasn't even stepped on the football field yet. I love Achane. He's going to be one of my flag plants, one of my guys going into this season. I really hope you enjoyed this mock draft. If you have any comments, make the comment in the comment section. I'll get back to you. If you like the video, hit the like button and then hit the notification icon so you can be notified anytime I am live to talk news and answer your questions or drop content just like this. And until next time, this is Anthony Cervino. This is the FF Faceoff. If you want to win, you have to tune in. We'll see you later.